All right, over here with Jason Warren, part of the ATB trainers team now. Jace, welcome aboard firstly, and what we'll do is we'll just a bit of a snapshot of your career. So how'd you get into the racing game? First question.
Yeah, Pete, look, I was riding track work back when I was at school. I went from there into breaking in and educating the young horses for my first real job in Sydney. So up there breaking in for Jack Denham and Clary Connors and the likes of leading trainers in Sydney, and sort of fueled my passion for the racing game from there, and then sort of kept going down that path, so to speak.
Right. We're here now at Denniston Park. I'll just switch around. It's a magnificent private property that you've acquired in time. Just going back, you've been a breaker, you worked at Eliza Park, you've worked with Lee Friedman. That's obviously been a terrific grounding for where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I did start training probably about 15 years ago. I spent, probably about 6 years training in my own right then, and he had numerous provincial winners and a city winner. I felt that at that time I needed to learn a bit more about the craft, and then I sort of went and worked for Lee Friedman as one of his foremans for a couple of years, and basically fine-tuned what I do. So when I left Friedman's, we bought a property at Balnarring, and pretty much started the business from there.
Great setup here at Denniston Park. You've been here about 7 or 8 years. Point of difference is I can name a heap, but obviously you're not far from the beach. You've got a sand track, a grass track. Just take us through the setup you've got here.
Yeah, look, we've got a beautiful 70-acre property that we can work later in the day, so we're not rushed off the training tracks. It works really well for educating the young horses, but it also works really well for keeping the older horses happy and eating well, and just in a nice environment. So we've got a lot of variety. Like as you mentioned, the Balnarring Beach is quite close by, and Cranbourne and Mornington tracks are very close by as well. So we've got a lot of options as far as training tools go, and like we have our own pool here, our own high-speed treadmill and the like. So we've got a lot of variety in our training.
40 odd here you can work, and you were just mentioning you've got a little base at Cranbourne now.
Yeah, well look, I've got 10 stables at Cranbourne on track. That just gives us another option as far as educating the young horses go. Most of our older horses are here at Denniston Park, and then all the ones that are just getting fit are here as well. So we sort of use Cranbourne as a bit of a rotational base, and it's working really well.
Right, Jace, just a few career highlights now. Obviously one of your, a banner horse at the time, Bell Sprinter, Group 1 Galaxy winner. I think you went overseas to Singapore, and Lucky 9, I think you ran runner-up to there. Cross paths with one of our Group 1 winners in Platelet. He was an exciting horse for the stable.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it was a real highlight to train Bell Sprinter, and as you mentioned, we had a few battles with Platelet along the way, so we always, elbow in the ribs for Darren as we walk past and so on. But look, it's always been, a thrill to get those high level horses, and even going into this spring, we've probably got the best crop of 3-year-olds that we've ever had. We've got really nice filly in Brooklyn Hustle, who ran 5th in a Blue Diamond last year, and showed that she's top class. We've got a nice Sebring horse going toward a Derby, and we've got a horse that's a Live Hope going toward a Guineas in Grinsing Alley. So we've got some nice horses coming forward, and very exciting to start to educate the babies as well at the moment. So we're just starting the faster work with them. So it's an exciting time of year going into the spring, and our stable, we've got a lot to look forward to.
When the weather's like this, Jace, out here, makes you get out of bed a bit early when you got the nice horses with it.
Yeah, we're on the other side of the Yarra from where Darren resides, and he spent quite a few years trying to encourage me to come up to Ballarat, and as good a training centre as it is, I'm a bit shy of the cold weather. So, you know, we're down here on the peninsula, and it's a beautiful area to live, and it works really well for us.
Just mentioning, Darren, obviously connection with A2B goes a little bit further back than today with the grey colt we got here. How'd that all come about?
Oh, look, when I was breaking in and pre-training horses back when I was first training, Darren and Liz would send horses down to me to educate, and then I'd send them back up to Weary once they were sort of ready, and we had a great sort of relationship quite some time ago. So you know, it's worked well in the past, and I can't see why we're not in for a good future.
Just a couple of generic questions. A preference to training a sprinter or a stayer?
Look, I end up with the sprinters, but stayers are where I'd love to be, and you know, winning one of those big staying races is probably a real goal.
Put the question too, would it be a Melbourne Cup or a Cox Plate that sit proudly on the mantelpiece?
Oh,
definitely. Choice.
Definitely a Melbourne Cup. You know, the race that stops a nation, and look, it's probably a real trainer's race, and sort of certainly be a feather to have in your cap, that's for sure.
We've got a few Dandinos. Obviously Dandino's Bombora Lodge is not far from here, so hopefully we can get a couple of those into the stable at some stage.
That'd be awesome, and just to get a couple of genuine staying types that we can actually train for the long distance races is a real target, yeah.
Appreciate your time, Jace. I love the setup here, and hopefully that all can roll into a nice association with ATV down the track.
Thanks.